So just as things happen to grow, like as Paul has referenced, my dad bod, hashtag is growing, and you will notice we have the newest member of hashtag sports.
West Side?
What's your name again? No, but it's great to have you on board, sir.
Thanks, my friend.
Hey, welcome to the club. It's a very exclusive club. We've never opened up membership before.
The system that Saban had in place with McCarron and the system that Dable ran just 1 year, because he was only at Alabama for 1 year.
Right.
He's got, people don't realize this guy's got way more NFL experience as an offensive coordinator than he does college. And
Sure.
unfortunately, it was a total disaster for him. But at the same time, he didn't have a quarterback at all. But the systems that they ran are completely different.
The point
From the pro style tree, though.
right,
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that it's not hard to draw to understand what
You could
McCarron's
connect the
system
dots.
was. You could. It's not hard to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Nick, what exactly was McCarron's strength? Hey, Saban, what was McCarron's strength? What were you doing when you were in this look? What was his responsibility?"
Yeah,
and
I
Saban will be able to draw the conclusion for you. Dable could look at that and understand a player who hasn't really had film in 3 years.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the drawback with McCarron right now, is that he hasn't had film in 3 years. You don't really know a whole lot about him. Besides that, he probably can start some games if you need him to. That's what most fans are drawing conclusions to. So you do have somebody in play who can start for you. So if the Bills don't trade up, what do they do? Right? So where do they go?
I have a very unique theory about that.
Okay.
And I think people are going to be surprised. What if they don't take a quarterback at all?
I'd be surprised.
You have approximately $109 million now, assuming the cap doesn't go up next year.
Well, how many are on contract, though?
46?
46 with 119 mil?
Yes.
Good.
But here, though, Matt Ryan's a free agent.
Okay.
Do you do a Kirk Cousins and say, here's $35 million a year, come be our quarterback?
I don't think Atlanta can afford him, because
No,
they
they
just
can't
paid
afford
Devontae
him. There's no
Freeman.
question of that.
They just paid Devontae Freeman. They're not going to be able to pay Tevin Coleman.
No.
Next year, as of right now, Atlanta only has, again, assuming the cap doesn't go up, about $11.5 million in cap space.
Well, and just to level the cap conversation, the cap has gone up approximately $9 million the last 4 years.
Absolutely.
Right. So even if you figure a marginal increase of another $9 million, just to keep it consistent,
that puts them at $20 million in available cap space,
which is not anything.
No,
That's
they
nothing.
also have 3 very good rookies on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to be coming off the contract years.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're in bad.
They are next year. They are in the space that the New York Giants are in this year,
They
with
can't
no
afford
money.
anybody.
Where are the Bills right now as far as their cap space?
For this year,
22 mil
22 mil.
right now.
Yeah, 21.85 million.
Let's say
figure $9 million for your rookies. You've got about $12.5–13 million to play.
But that's an interesting. But the draft pool is a volatile pool to draw from, because they could drop $4 million if they package picks to go to 1. Yeah, they're gonna have to pay. They're gonna have to pay to get to 1, 2, 3, 4. But the amount of drop off that they see is, I mean, they could end up saving $2–3 million off their cap.
But assuming you trade, but here, well, I don't know about that though, because I guess we're assuming we're talking about possibly trading up to 2.
Yeah.
That draft pick for this year is going to cost $5.85 million.
Yep.
Number 2. Number 12 is going to cost you $3.1 million.
Right.
You're not going to save $2 million assuming you trade a second and a third.
I don't think they're trading a second and a third, though. A lot of people are drawing comparisons to the Jared Goff deal, saying this is what it took to move up. If you trade 12, 22, and 2 seconds,
I
think each draft is they're all mutually exclusive. I don't think you can do that because even within the same year, what the Jets just did and what happens on draft day are 2 completely different animals.
Yeah.
Like 100% agree.
Like that draft that trade, while it seems like a draft day trade that you would get, we need to get there. A lot of people hit the panic button on that day. So it's one of those things where you can't even compare those.
No, they're not similar. And let's be very honest, and I've said this since the trade happened. I don't think you might be able to get to 2 if you're Buffalo for cheaper than the Jets got from 6 to 3.
I think because of the Giants, and I told Paul this. I think they want to get out of there. I mean, there's ways that they could cut cap and be all right and still keep the number 2 pick. However, there's a lot of things that have to happen that haven't happened yet. Obviously, the JPP thing. Mm-hmm. Wait, talk to me about that too. They didn't.
Yeah. So here's the thing: they cut JPP. Well, they trade JPP, right? So they save $2.5 million. If the number 2 pick is what 5.2.
5.85.
5.85? Okay, so it's going to cost them effectively $3 million to draft the 2nd overall pick. Yeah. So they're spending $3 million more at that position if they draft Chubb, right?
Correct, because you're eating all the debt.
Right, exactly. So from the long-term perspective, do you want to cycle that position and get younger? Sure. Should it cost you $3 million extra while you're in cap jail? No.
Yeah,
no, that doesn't make any sense.
But here's another way to look at it as well. Again, the Giants have, with trading JPP, they now have $8.15 million in available cap space. You mentioned...
That's awful.
It is awful, because here's the problem. If they stay just where they are, their draft class is going to cost them $9.25 million. Mm-hmm. Here's the bigger problem. Their 3 biggest contracts are Olivier Vernon at $17 million per, Eli Manning at $22.3 million this year. Here's the biggest problem. Nate Soldier.
Yeah.
Their brand new guy, 4 years, $62 million, $15.6 million this year. You can't do anything with him. It's not possible.
No.
So,
you just signed him.
You just signed him. You just signed Olivier Vernon last offseason.
That was a bad signing.
It was a brutal signing. He did nothing with the Dolphins to warrant that contract.
That was Reese giving a big middle finger to the Giants because he knew he was gone.
The other problem is your 4th person is Janoris Jenkins, who's your best defender in essence. Who's better than him on defense now?
Landon Collins.
I'm talking about corners, though. I'm not.
Oh, okay. Right.
Landon Collins is probably my favorite player on that team.
Man, he fell in the draft too.
Oh, yes, he did.
Kidding.
Alabama.
No, just kidding.
But he hasn't been arrested yet, so he's really not from Alabama.
He hasn't been back to Tuscaloosa yet.
That's for you, Drew. Here's the problem, though, is that who do you restructure?
You can't. There's very little you can do.
No one.
There's very little you can do. The only thing you can do is you could extend and restructure Eli.
Loomis was there.
But why would you? Now stop it with Mickey Loomis.
Exactly, but why would you? Because you can't. 37-year-old quarterbacks don't get big-time extensions because to eat cap. I mean, the Giants, they're in trouble this year.
I mean, talk to Drew Brees about getting restructured. Like, that's the point. And Mario brings up about Mickey Loomis. Yeah, you can restructure Eli because you're not worried. You're just looking to get out of this year. You're not worried about.
Absolutely.
You're just worried about this year. So you could extend Eli for 2, split that's 17 into a 10 mil signing bonus, right?
Yeah, if you convert it to a signing bonus, then
it'll save you 5, right? So if you extend him another 2, it'll save you 5. So you can create some space. It does give you a longer term.
That's your second round pick. So.
Yeah, it does give you. It does create problems for you in the long run, but I mean,
sure, Mario, but that's your second pick.
Yeah.
But what about your 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, 6th round? Again, you're almost $2 million under what you need just to sign your rookies.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, if you extend him and you save 5 this year, that'll take care of your rookies. That's
sure,
it.
but I think
you're not accounting for injuries. You're not accounting for.
Yep, you're not accounting for injuries.
Yeah.
You're not accounting for anything.
Maybe there's more dead cap if you cut a few guys.
Well, and look at Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall's done it with the Giants.
Yeah.
Like he's still on the books right now, but the only way that Brandon Marshall sees the light of day is if OBJ gets suspended. That's it. It's the only way that Brandon Marshall sees the field.
But is that, unfortunately, with the 2 videos that have surfaced in the last 10 days, that's not only likely, it's probable.
Yeah, absolutely. So does that make cutting Brandon Marshall and acquiring a wide receiver via trade make more sense? Right?
No.
Why not?
Because if you cut Brandon Marshall, you're still eating the dead, and you don't have the room to add the new salary.
He doesn't have much debt, does he?
No.
$5 million?
Is it 5?
No. Fact check. I'm on it.
Ding, ding, ding.
Hey, Siri.
Oh, my God.
You're going to talk to your phone?
How much does Brandon Marshall cost the New York Giants this year?
If she answers that, I'm going to punch her. Here's a website.
I hope. Oh, good. Haha.
And we forget about adding that contract, which is not very good either.
I hope you only get contracts for Brandon Marshall, the linebacker.
No, they gave me all the New York Giants, so I appreciate it.
So his cap number is only 6 this year. Okay.
So what do you see by
his cap number 6. If they cut him, 5.1.
God, I hate being right.
Is the savings. Oh!
I told you it was 5.
Yeah.
5.1.
Wrong column.
5.1 savings.
Yeah, because he's got a 1 mil signing bonus.
Give me
so
$2 tens for a
$2 million
5.
It was only a $2 million $2 million signing bonus on a 2-year deal. So.
Okay, so then basically his second year wasn't guaranteed at all.
Right. Yeah, no, it wasn't guaranteed.
Makes
For a
sense.
30-plus-year-old.
34-year-old wide receiver, not guaranteeing that contract.
Well, who are you going to trade
old.
for, though? There's another way. There's the other problem to that whole scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you going to trade for? Are you going to trade for a Kelvin Benjamin, who was actually David Gettleman's first pick? Mario?
If you go to H-Tag Sports right now, I think that's a very viable scenario. But the cap, what I failed to realize in that scenario was the cap jail that the Giants are currently in. I mean, unless they restructure, cut guys, and that's something to look for prior to the draft. If the Giants start making all these different types of moves within their structure of their team, they're looking to hang on to the second pick. If news from OBJ breaks, anything else like that, you may see them make moves with these wide receivers. What did Hearns just sign for?
10.
2 years, 12 or something?
Yeah.
So
like that.
the market is now down to a starting receiver being around 6.
See ya, Dink!